Let's understand indentations better in Python. So let's say you want to create your function called myFunction, and inside that you want to have the line print hello. Now if you want to have the line print hello inside the function, you would have to indent that using 4 spaces like so. So it has to be indented 4 spaces more than the function. And if you want to add another line of code like world, then you would have to indent that 4 spaces as well. And you can think of this as a single block of indentation. A good way to understand this is checking out the Windows Explorer or the Finder in Mac. So in this case I will be using Replit to demonstrate this. Let's say our function called myFunction is a folder, and inside that we want to add our file print hello. Now if I drop the print hello file right over here, as you can see the file is indented a bit after the folder. So this shows us that this file is stored inside the folder. So if I close this, as you can see, it gets closed with the folder. And if I add my print world inside it as well, as you can see, that also gets indented one level from the folder. So this is a great example of how indents work in Python. And if I remove this outside, as you can see, it gets unindented from there. I can also remove the print hello, and that also gets unindented. So we can think of it as something like this. If you want to remove the print world, then we can put it outside of that, meaning it will be unindented and completely independent from the function. So if we call the function, the print world will not be executed. It will only be executed after the function is finished, since it's completely independent from the function. Now as we move on, we can come across code like this. Now this code can seem intimidating, but we have a function inside which we are indenting an if statement and checking if the sky is clear. If yes, then we are indenting the print statement twice. The first indent is for the function, the second indent is for the if statement. Then if the sky is clear, we are printing blue. Then we are doing the same thing using an elif, but we are checking if the sky is cloudy. If yes, then we are printing gray. And then we are printing hello, and finally at the end we are printing world. So this will be considered a single block, and this if statement will be considered another block of indentations, and the elif will be considered another block of indentations. So you can look at it something like this. So we will have a new folder, and that folder will be if sky is clear, and this folder will be inside the function called myFunction. Then inside that we have a file which is just print clear. So this is another piece of indentation inside the function. So this is the function which contains all of these lines of code. Then we have our if statement which has a print clear, and notice that this print clear is indented one level more than this folder. Then we have our print hello, and finally we have another folder which is the elif, and we are checking if the sky is cloudy. Then what we are doing is we are creating a file, and then we are printing gray. So as you can see, this is another block where we have cloudy, and then inside that our print gray is indented one level more than this folder. So this is a single block of indentation, and then inside that we have our if statement with a print statement which is indented one level more than the if statement, then our elif statement, and finally we are printing hello. Then at the end we are printing world like shown right over here. Now let's see spaces versus tabs. Which one should you use? Now if we check the official Python documentation and we select tabs or spaces, as you can see, Python tells us that spaces are the preferred indentation method, and they don't really give a reason why, and they also say that tabs should be used solely to remain consistent with code that is already indented with tabs. And in Python 3, Python actually disallows mixing tabs and spaces for indentation in a same file. So if you try to use tabs and spaces in a single file for indentation, that will not work. So it has to be only tabs or only spaces. Now there are a couple advantages to tabs. Like if you use tabs, it takes less time, so you don't have to hit the space bar 5 times for a single indentation, and we know how much indentation is required in a single file of Python. And also tabs take up less memory than spaces. But to compare which one is better, tabs or spaces, there was a research in Stack Overflow where some developers asked over 12,000 professional developers or programmers their preferred way of indentation, and some of them said spaces, tabs, and some said both. And then they graphed a line, and they were somehow able to show that people who use spaces have a higher annual salary by a margin than people who use tabs or the people who use both. Now some IDEs have a feature in their settings in which you can change the indentation type from tabs to spaces, and then the indentation size, so you can change it to 4, which is the preferred method in Python. And when you hit tab, it actually creates 4 spaces instead of a singular tab. So this just helps reduce the time for a singular indentation for the people who use spaces. But the downside to using these spaces is that the file size can get a lot higher than if you would have just used tabs alone. So that was about indentation. I will see you in the next lesson.